Welcome, and it's time for another episode of Kitchen Disaster Storytime. Tonight, we have the story of the cat and the soup. That sounds a little bit like a fable, doesn't it? I mean, I guess it kind of could be. I'll tell you what I learned at the end of the video. This one took place not all that long ago. Maybe 2 years ago. I wanted to make pork and bean soup for dinner. And I was going to cook it from dried beans because that's the best way to do it, right? So the night before, I soaked, half a pound of white beans because they need to soak overnight. All was good there. All went as planned. Then in the morning, I woke up. I got the crock pot out. I put in my last 2 jars of pork stock. I put in those beans. And I put in a nice chunk of pork. And some seasonings and lots of garlic and pepper and thyme and all those things that make soup delicious. And turned it on low to let it cook and cook and cook all day long. It smelled so good. The whole house smelled absolutely amazing. I could not wait for dinner. And I babied this soup. I kept coming back and checking. I know the whole point of a crock pot is to set it and forget it. But I kept coming back and checking and adjusting the seasonings. A little bit of butter for richness here. A little bit more salt, some pepper. It was so delicious. It smelled so good. And I know I've said that twice, but it's like when you walk into a house and it smells like chocolate chip cookies and Thanksgiving dinner and apple pie and everything delicious all at once, and it just permeates the entire house. I could smell this from outside. It was so intense. Well, you've met my cat. His name is Bray. He does tricks for food. He gets on the counter when he's not supposed to. He eats anything he can get a hold of. He ate watermelon seeds that I had laid out drying once. He ate coconut fiber from a terrarium that I threw in the garbage. I can't leave the trash in the kitchen for 10 minutes without him trying to get into it. My cat loves food probably more than I do. So, it's about half an hour till dinner. At this point, between soaking the beans and slow cooking all day, this had been going for almost 24 hours. It was a labor of love and a test of patience, but one I was happy to conduct for as good as I anticipated this meal being. Half an hour before dinner, I went into the kitchen. I was going to do some dishes, get a few things ready to be able to set the table, and then enjoy my soup. One would really hope that that's the end of the story. But no. I walked into the kitchen to see that my cat had not only gotten up on the counter, but had somehow figured out how to get the lid off the crock pot. And he was sitting there, dipping his little paw in the crock pot of soup and licking. Dipping his little paw in the crock pot of soup and licking. Dipping his little paw in the crock pot of soup and licking. I was so mad. Obviously, humans could not eat that soup. I was not about to let him eat that soup. He wasn't getting rewarded for getting into the crock pot. But you know I hate food waste. So the soup slowly got doled out over the next few days to the local wildlife and stray cats and otherwise outdoor cats that are mine, or that at least I feed. They loved it every bit as much as Bray did. And I went up to McDonald's, got myself a quarter pounder with cheese. I do enjoy McDonald's. Did not enjoy McDonald's that day. And then I had to come home and eat my fast food burger. Well, the entire house smelled like my delicious soup. For 3 days, the house smelled like soup. And I got to live with that, knowing I didn't get to eat that meal. I said there was a lesson. What was the lesson, you might ask? The very next day, I went to Walmart and I bought myself a new crock pot. And guess what this one has? A locking lid. So never again will my cat get the lid off a crock pot. So maybe you guys can learn this one from me, and instead of having to learn it from your cat or dog or hamster or bird or what have you. But when you go shopping for a crock pot, if you have pets that love food, or kids that don't want to stay out of things, or husbands that don't want to stay out of things, or pets that love food, save yourself a headache. Save yourself a heartache. Just get the locking crock pot. So, if you found this video entertaining, if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.